Arsenal have got themselves back on track, smashing 3 past AS Monaco and another Champions League win, as Mikel unleashed a new star boy. Today we'll break down the performance of Myles Lewis-Skelly, as well as discussing all of what we learned from the game. We'll also get a breaking update in terms of a new sporting director, find out what's happening in the future of Kiwior, and reveal who could be starting in the game against Everton. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and I know you guys are doing sensational after Arsenal scored 3 goals from open play. Wow, things you love to see. As per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. The starting off with what we learned from Arsenal 3 Monaco 0. Going into a game after a draw against Fulham, Mikel had to change things up. Not only because a lot of players were doubtful, with Timber and Partey both not seen in training before the game, but also because Arsenal needed some more open play threat, balance in their team to make sure the attack operated best. So for the first time this season, we saw the midfield three of Declan Rice, Mikel, Merino and Myles and Odegaard. With Partey at right back and Myles Lewis-Skelly at left back, Arsenal definitely had more balance, as Mikel Merino dropped a 7.0 rating, with 64 touches and 41 accurate passes, 3 out of 3 dribbles and 5 out of 9 ground balls. This was a really effective performance, not only playing as a natural left number 8, but offering Arsenal a left footer on the left hand side, helping out Gabriel Martinelli. More importantly, he also gave Arsenal something that we don't really have: a ball carrier from deep that can turn in behind and cause teams issues. In the second half, Monaco were definitely the better side. On quite a few occasions, Merino was able to pick up the ball, then turn in behind and beat the press. It reminded me quite a lot of 22-23, having a natural left-footed left central midfielder, a bit like Saka, offering Arsenal far more stability, but also a natural link in between the lines. Mikel Merino is a player that's been very unlucky at the start of his Arsenal career. Now that he's fit and available for me, he needs to be starting for Arsenal. Not only does he offer Arsenal a profile they don't really have, but with him in the team, the left-hand side seems a lot more functional. But talking about the midfield, we've also got to talk about Declan Rice, starting as a number 6 and thriving, with a 7.0 rating in 64 minutes, completing a whopping 95% of his passes and 4 out of 4 accurate long balls, with 2 interceptions and 1 tackle. In the last few games, we've seen Rice really return to his best, whether playing as a pivot or now playing as a natural 6. The reason why we're seeing the best of Rice is because he's playing deeper. The reason why Mikel spent £105 million on him, because as much as we love Thomas Partey and his progressive passes from deep, we can't forget the main role of a defensive midfielder, which is to protect the back four. With Rice as a 6, not only are Arsenal far more secure in transition, but the whole idea that he can't pass forwards couldn't be a bigger myth. We will finally play into Declan Rice's strengths, not using him as a box crashing number 8, but more as an anchor and a very stable one. In terms of the midfield though, you also had Martin Odegaard drop a 7.1 rating, with 26 accurate passes, 1 key pass, but also 1 massive chance missed. It wasn't really a fantastic performance, alongside a fairly poor performance against Fulham as well. As much as we praise Odegaard's controlling ability, one of the best tempo setters in world football, in recent games I've actually noticed a bit of a flaw: his lack of power when it comes to ball carrying. When it comes to picking the ball up in transition, turning from the halfway line trying to burst forwards, Odegaard doesn't have that natural pace. When you then think about the chance he had in this game, even then, because of a lack of pace, he was always looking behind, not quite looking convincing in front of goal. In the second half, Monaco are far more dominant. Arsenal were trying to play on transition, but what we saw was a real lack of quality, even when picking the balls up in dangerous areas. A lack of decisiveness in that final third meant that Arsenal weren't that threatening. When you think about Liverpool, one of the key strengths they have, as much as they're able to pen teams in and break down deep blocks, they are also lethal on the counter-attack. You then look at the performance of Ethan Nwaneri, playing only 11 minutes and dropping a 7.0 rating, 6 out of 6 passes, 1 out of 2 dribbles. That natural pace that Odegaard lacks, Nwaneri has in abundance, and it then makes sense to why Mikel threw him on against Fulham, chasing a goal by taking off your captain, where in certain games Odegaard's profile is perfectly suited. In games that are far more open, at times he can be found lacking. But in a game that Arsenal created a 2.2 XG, to Monaco 0.44, with a whopping 1.66 coming from open play, only 0.2 from set pieces. In the first half alone, Arsenal should have been 4-0 up, all from open play chances, and 2 of those fell to Gabriel Jesus, dropping a 6.8 rating with 1 assist, 0 goals from an XG of 0.74, with 2 big chances missed, 9 passes, 2 key passes and 1 big chance created. It was in a sense a real throwback performance. 22-23, where Jesus was very threatening, showing signs of brilliance with a fantastic assist, but wasteful in front of goal when given a 1v1 chance. But looking past that, there was also a bigger effect on the team. Playing as a centre forward over Kai Havertz, at times Arsenal were definitely more fluid, with Jesus able to rotate to the left hand side and cause issues out wide as well. There's a reason why Arsenal are more threatening. He's not the player that we saw when he first arrived to Arsenal. With only one goal in his last 32 Arsenal appearances, there are some questions about his future. But according to Mikel, in terms of reports that Gabriel Jesus is leaving and going back to Brazil, they are nonsense. Like all strikers, they go through phases and moments. His attitude has been really good and it always is. We are going to support them as much as possible. But with 3 years left on his contract and on a wage of £275,000 a week, does that record justify the wages? Is he going to be a starter for Arsenal going forwards? Or is he an asset that we can cash in on? Because you also have Kai Havertz, having come off the bench and scored his 7th Emirates goal of the season and in just 10 appearances, making it 10th for the season overall, Arsenal's top goal scorer, with a 7.5 rating, 1 goal, 8 passes and 1 key pass. Not to mention also a major part in the Saka goal to win the ball back and earn the goal, criticised heavily after the game against Fulham. But in 2024 in terms of goals and assists, out of all strikers he only ranks 4th, with 21 in 26 games. It's not to say that he's perfect, but I don't want to see him get scapegoated. This was a player that at the end of last season, fighting for a title, consistently turned up in the running. But what about Bukayo Saka, the star of the show with a 9.4 rating, 2 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League, with 3 key passes and 1 big chance created? This was a really efficient Champions League performance, poaching away his goals and taking his chances. It wasn't that he was overly involved, it's just that he waited for his moments. A sign of a truly top and efficient winger, with a hint of Mo Salah. They said that he had to do it in the Champions League to be considered world class. Well, he now has 14 goal contributions and 14 Champions League appearances. A real balance of goals and assists. He deserves a lot of respect. So when you think about this comments here from Jamie Carragher on the weekend, calling Cole Palmer the best player in the Premier League over the last year, I'm sure that Saka and Salah both have something to say, becoming the only 2 Premier League players to register 20 plus goal contributions across all competitions this season. Salah's got 28 and Saka's got 21. I still give the crown to the Egyptian king. But in terms of the best player after that, for me it is Bukayo, leading the league this year in terms of assists, creating a whopping 18 big chances. Even if you take away the set pieces and call him a stat padder, he still leads the league with the most big chances created. And when we talk about turning up when it matters the most, 16 of Saka's goals and assists have come when losing, tying, breaking the tie, or killing the game to go 2-0 up, all non-penalty by the way, with a whopping 89% of Saka's goal contributions being game state altering. Even today, the opening goal and the goal to kill the game. It's not that Cole Palmer is an amazing player, it's just that Bukayo Saka is turning up more when it matters most. But then you've also got to talk about Myles Lewis-Skelly, at 18 years and 76 days, becoming the youngest Arsenal player to start a Champions League game since Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in September 2011. And boy was he impressive with a 7.0 rating, winning 4 out of 5 ground balls, completing 96% of his passes, as well as 2 out of 2 successful dribbles, having completed 45 of 47 passes, the best passing accuracy of an Arsenal teenager in the UEFA Champions League since Johan Giroud against Hamburg in 2006, the same month that Lewis-Skelly was born. Passes completed is one thing, but for me it's the bravery. Despite being so young, Myles definitely has the mineral. The prime example being that pass to Gabriel Jesus. To have played that pass in your first ever Champions League start, not only shown the bravery but also the quality. It was Myles saying that I deserve to be here and I deserve to be starting. Saying after the game that I'm proud of myself, I believe in myself. I've come a long way and I'm thankful for the opportunity. Not only a fantastic passer of the ball but also very good at using his body, putting his arms in a way and holding players up. All signs of a mature player at just 18 years old. Seeing the way that he was inverting into midfield and thriving centrally. He might be a left back right now, but going into the future, I actually see more of a number 6/number 8. A player comfortable at receiving the ball in dangerous areas, knowing that he has the ability to hold players off. As Mikel says, Myles Lewis-Skelly did so well. A really proud moment, he's one of our own. It's just a joy to watch him. A privilege to be able to give the chance to somebody. He took that chance. Having seen a far more balanced Arsenal side with Lewis-Skelly and Merino now, going into the game against Everton with the doubts of Ricardo Calafiori and Gabriel, both who will get updates on later in this video. For me, Myles Lewis-Skelly should be starting, showing today that he can thrive in the Champions League at a high level against an Everton side that won't make things easy. I think that Myles is ready. But in terms of the Champions League now, after another win at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal are now unbeaten in the last 14 home games in all competitions, winning 12 and drawing 2, their best run ever under Mikel, and the best since an 18-game run under Arsene Wenger from March to November 2017, having now climbed to 3rd in the Champions League table, 2 points of second place Barca, and 5 of first place Liverpool, with 4 wins out of 6, 11 goals scored and only 2 conceded. Arsenal are now in a very strong position. The same can't be said about 22nd place Man City, having lost another game against Juventus 2-0. They have now got 1 win in their last 10 games. But for Arsenal with 2 remaining Champions League games, both coming in 2025, you've got Zagreb at home and Girona away, with a win in any of those games all but guaranteeing a top 8 place. Moving on to the latest Arsenal news, and starting off with the search for a new sporting director. With the departure of Edu Gaspar, Arsenal on the market, And while the main candidate may be Real Sociedad's Roberto Alaba, who won't be available until the end of the season, according to a new report from James Ollie, Arsenal are considering Dan Ashworth as a possible candidate for their vacant sporting director position following a sudden departure from Manchester United, with another report backing up saying that Ashworth has a close relationship with Ghana's managing director Richard Garlick, who is leading the search to land a new sporting director. And it all makes sense because of his recent departure. Despite joining Man United only 5 months ago, a prized asset of Newcastle, as United confirmed he has left their role as sporting director, with the reports of disagreements behind the scenes, Ashworth not being happy with the owners of United. He does have quite a resume in terms of his career, working initially with the FA alongside Richard Garlick, completely transforming their structure, to then working at Brighton and making them a stable Premier League club. At Newcastle under new owners with the arrival of Eddie Howe and the signing of Alexander Isak, there's a reason why United went for him in the first place. But according to Samuel Luckhurst, Ashworth actually wanted United to hire Gareth Southgate, but the club opted for Ruben Amorim instead. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans will look at that very sideways. Despite of that, he's clearly got a resume behind the scenes and he's available. But as things stands, I think Arsenal have other targets. I still think Sociedad's Roberto Alaba is our #1 target for the new sporting director. But in terms of transfer news, let's talk about the future of Jakub Kiwior. After another start in the Champions League helping Arsenal keep a clean sheet, there were a lot of Arsenal fans questioning his performance after Fulham. Caught sleeping by Raul Jimenez, who scored the opening goal, that ended up being very costly. Having arrived in January 2023, Kiwior has never quite become an undisputed Arsenal starter. While on the ball, Kiwior has a lot of quality as we saw tonight. The prime example being the pass to Odegaard and Jesus. In a league full of so many top physical strikers, I don't think Kiwior has that same level of dominance as a Gabriel or Saliba. And as reported by Gianluca Di Marzio, Napoli have already asked about Jakub Kiwior's situation, and Arsenal are open to letting him go on loan. Right now is the moment for him to come back to Italy, because he has to play and become one of the best defenders in Europe again. Having come from Serie A in the first place, it's always been a league full of so much interest. A league more about technical ability than it is physical, which I think is far more suited to Kiwior. Still under a long-term Arsenal contract, we could definitely demand a decent amount of money. But can we afford to let him go? With Ben White, Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Calafrio and Zinchenko all out, Partey playing a right back and Timber doing a job, while Kiwior's long-term future may not be at Arsenal, I don't see him leaving in January. For Arsenal now, the focus turns to Saturday, facing Everton at the Emirates Stadium at a 3 PM kickoff, in a massive weekend for the title race as Liverpool take on Fulham and Chelsea take on Brentford. While Everton may be in 15th place, under a manager like Sean Dyche we can all expect another very tight mid-block game, where Arsenal will need to be as creative as possible. In terms of the likes of Calafrio, Gabriel, Zinchenko, they were all not seen in training ahead of the game against Monaco, but likewise was the case for Timber and Partey, who both ended up playing. I don't think Gabriel and Calafrio are that far away, nor would I be surprised if either were on the bench on Saturday. But when it comes to starting, one thing I definitely want to see is Myles Lewis-Skelly left back and Timber at right back. Not only to also become a more balanced side, but as we saw today, Myles has the ability to break the lines and kill a deep block. But having now gotten 128 minutes without scoring a set-piece goal, with Nicolas Joba's job being under massive pressure. In terms of Mikel, he says set pieces are a consequence of what we do in open play. It's a phase that is a part of that. You guys I know say this is set piece and that is open play. I see set pieces and open play altogether. But with also currently ranking 5th in the Premier League in terms of open play XG difference per 90. Defensively, we're still at a very high level, but open play going forwards, it hasn't been perfect. In games that also have to be more creative, I want to see more overlaps going forwards, things get changed up. But also more importantly, I need to see balance. When you think for the game against Fulham with no Merino or Calafrio, the left-hand side had all right footers, making Arsenal very predictable. But with 4 of our last 5 goals conceded, coming from an XG of under 0.09, while our goals have all been over an XG of at least 0.2, there is a sense that Arsenal are getting a little bit unlucky. Teams are taking chances they don't normally take. And the Premier League also currently ranked 3rd in terms of big chances created per match, averaging 3.3 per game. They are also the best in terms of big chances allowed, allowing only 1.5 per match. But I won't lie, at times we can be a bit stiff. In a team full of so many tall players, in the final third sometimes we lack that technical quality. A runner that can break through sides and carry the ball forwards creates a moment of magic to break through a system. I talked about it in the last video and I'll keep saying it. Arsenal need another unstoppable attacker on top of Bukayo Saka. And with the targeting of Šeško, Isak and Vlahovic, Mikel Arteta definitely knows what his team needs. So with the January transfer window around the corner, Mikel Arteta says the window gives us an opportunity to strengthen the team. This is only if we feel that is needed, and we feel we have the capacity to do that as well, leaving the chance open for a brand new signing. Come January, if Arsenal want to win a title, rise from 3rd to 1st place and close that gap. But with our biggest rivals in the past years, Man City being in 4th, Arsenal need to ensure this is the year they get themselves over the line. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all other social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today and the 5 things we learned from Arsenal 3 Monaco 0. Going into another massive game against Everton, it won't be easy, but at the Emirates Stadium, we need to go the win. So as for my friends, I'll see you next time. Take care, and in a bit.